Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. At 8 o'clock a.m., American military units around the world pause to honor our national ensign. In doing so, we commemorate the emblem which has fallen from our nation's battles, where Americans have fought and continue to fight for liberty the flag symbolizes. Quite possibly the most recognizable symbol in the world, the Star-Spangled Banner continues to refer to the United States not only as a nation, state, government, and set of policies, but also as an ideology and set of ideas. This morning, it is our duty and privilege to continue the tradition of raising the symbol of this great nation with a proper military ceremony. Participating in this morning's ceremony are the Headquarters and Service Battalion Color Guard and the Parris Island Marine Band. Conducting this morning's color ceremony are enlisted conductor Gunnery Sergeant Hamner and drum major Gunnery Sergeant Wilson.
Hey! Trumpet, sound first call morning come.
Reviewing today's ceremony is Brigadier General Terry V. Williams, Commanding General, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Eastern Recruiting Region, Parris Island, South Carolina. Accompanying Brigadier General Williams is Sergeant Major Chet H. Houston, Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Eastern Recruiting Region, Sergeant Major. We offer a special welcome to our honored guest, Major General James Lukeman, Commanding General, Training and Education Command. Major General Lukeman will be the parade reviewing official for this morning's graduation. We also welcome Staff Sergeant Fenwick from RS Baltimore and Staff Sergeant Gonzalez from RS Orlando, who are the recruiters of the honor graduates of Company I and Company P. The first selection you heard was John Kakavas's arrangement of America, in which the familiar melody of My Country 'Tis of Thee was heard. The band's next selection, March of the Women Marines, was composed overnight by Sergeant Luis Severino in 1943 and became the official march of Women Marines. Following the national anthem, the band will perform our national march, The Stars and Stripes Forever, written by John Philip Sousa, featuring piccolo soloist Sergeant Heather Song. The band's final selection will be Anchors Away and the Marines Hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for honors to our national colors. During the raising of our colors, gentlemen, we ask, if able, please remove any hats that are not part of the scout or military uniform.
Steady. Sound, attention. Present on. Strike 8 bells and hoist the colors.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. This week in United States history. On 13 October 1775, the Continental Congress established the Continental Navy and marked the birth date of the United States Navy. On 9 October 1917, the 8th Marine Regiment was activated at Quantico, Virginia. Although the regiment would not see combat in Europe during World War I, the officers and enlisted men of the 8th Marines participated in operations against dissidents in Haiti for over 5 years during the 1920s. During World War II, the regiment was assigned to the 2nd Marine Division and participated in combat operations on Guadalcanal, Tarawa, Saipan, Tinian, and Okinawa, and earned 3 Presidential Unit citations. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of Anchors Aweigh and the Marines Hymn. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's color ceremony. The graduation ceremony for Company I and Company P will begin at 9 a.m. at Petros Parade Deck.